Hello again and welcome back. So now, let's set up some selling. So the way we can do this is the first thing I want to do is I want to go into my wherever you've got your shop widgets stored, and I'm going to open up my shop icon widget, the one that we use to tell us what items we can buy, because I want to go into its graph and I want to add a variable real quick. So the variable that I want to add is a reference to my main shop widget screen. So I'm just going to call it shop widget, and then I'm going to change the reference to shop, is that what I called it? Shop W object reference, so that it references this widget. Now inside the shop widget, when we create the shop icon, I'm going to grab all this, move it left a little bit, because we need to set that shop widget reference. Oop. We'll do that, and then for the shop widget, we're just going to drag off and get a reference to the self, so that it references this blueprint specifically. So, because we're going to need to be able to call a function when we click that button and when we click the sales button that we're about to make. So, with that done, I'm going to right-click my shop icon and duplicate that, and this is going to be my sales icon underscore W. That way all the heavy lifting is already done. We don't really have to do much other than go in and change just its on clicked event. But we'll get to that in just one second. So inside our shop widget, we have a spot to set up for our what the shopkeeper has, but we don't have any way of seeing what the player has to sell. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to right click the canvas panel that holds my background image in my shop inventory grid, and I'm going to right click and I'm just going to duplicate that. Then I'm going to set its anchor point over to the right, reset all of its offsets. That's not an offset. For the alignment on the X, if it's 0, it's going to be on the right, and if it's 1, it's going to be on the left. So it's a good way of kind of, it's like 100% this way, 100% the other way. Now if I look at this one over here, it has a 50 on the X, but since it's 0 on the X, and it's on the right, in order to get the same kind of positioning off this side for this one, it'll have to be -50, so that it pushes it left. So that way they're looking just the same. Now for the shop inventory grid, I'm going to call it sales grid. I'm going to compile that real quick. Then I'm going to go into my graph. And at the very beginning where we put our event construct, I'm going to back this up a ways. And I'm going to put a sequence node. You can get that by either right clicking and typing sequence, or just holding S on the keyboard and left clicking. I'm going to hook the first one up to here. Back this up just a little bit further. And then we're going to be basically recreating our character's inventory inside of here. So we can't use these, but we can create 3 more. So I'm going to create S row, S being for sales. That'll be an integer. Sales column, and S column length. I hope I spelled that right. We shall see. I did, yay. Alright, I'm going to default my sales column length to also 5 so that it'll match the other side that we set up. Now, off of the then 1, to establish our inventory, I'm going to drag out my sales row, my sales column, and set them. Because just like we did up here, we want to make sure that every time this constructs, it starts at the beginning. I'll drag this down a little bit. Now, after we do that, I want to cast to my player blueprint, because we're going to need to be able to get her inventory. So from the object, I'm going to get player character, and then as the player, I want to get the inventory and the inventory size, so that we know how many item slots she has, and then we can get them based on that. So alright, after we do that, we want a for loop. Now, since this registers an array and this is measuring length, we need to subtract 1 from this so that they line up right. Since this is 25, 0 to 24 is also what would be 25 pieces. I'm going to, from the inventory, we want to get a copy of the item information at that index. Now for the loop body, we want to create a, why did I type a, create widget. Now the widget that we want to create here is going to be our sales icon that we set up. So sales icon. Then we create the sales icon. It will also have our shop widget reference. So we want to make sure that we set the shop widget reference to reference this blueprint so that we can call functions from inside of it. So we're also going to get off that self reference, hook that up, and then from the create sales icon one more time, we want to set the item info in that slot to reflect what's in our inventory. Now where's my sales grid? I'm going to drag that out and get a copy of it because we want to drag off of it and add child to the uniform grid. We'll hook that right up to the item info. I'm going to drag that down a little bit so I can get off my create sales icon widget and return value straight into the content. Then for the row and the column, I'll hook up my S row, S column. Then after we are telling it which position to establish, we want to update that. So I'm going to get my sales column. I'm having a lot of trouble talking tonight. I don't know why. But I'm going to grab my sales column variable, drag off, and increment the integer attached. So did I set that to 5 already? Okay, you want to make sure that the S column length is set to 5. That way it'll update appropriately. So once we increment the integer, we want to check the new result and see if it's greater than or equal to our column length. If it is, then we want to set our S column, so set it back to 0, grab out our S row, and increment that one. Like so. So now every time it's created, it will also populate the right side with our player's inventory. So if we run in, I don't think I have anything right now. Let me pick up some stuff. So yeah, now you can see it's got my stuff over here, its stuff over here. Now the only problem, it doesn't tell you how many health potions I have right here, but that we can do pretty quickly. So I'll go into my sales icon widget, and I'm just going to add a text to the canvas panel. That is huge. I'm going to set its font size to like 10. 5? No, 10. Set it to light, and then you can basically position it wherever you like. I'm going to set it to justify right so that it fills from this side and goes that way, and just drag it down in place. You can set the content to be like a 0, that way you can see where it'll start from. If you click size to content, that might help if it's having that weird pulling out effect. Alright, so that should be good. And then just to test it, if I add a bunch of 0, I guess we can't. We can manually adjust it though. I'll just scale it down to about the size of that. Set it in place, and then as many zeros as I add, then it goes. So size to content doesn't always work right for you. I'm just going to do that. But that's when manual comes in handy. So now we will need to update our sales icon to where once it's created, it will reflect the quantity of item that we're holding. So I did not set it as a variable. So with that selected, I'm going to set that it is a variable, and I'm going to rename it to quantity. Compile that, go into the graph, grab out my quantity variable, get it, and then we want to set text, this parentheses one, the parenthetical. That's probably not a word, but I'm going to use it anyway. So I'm going to hook my current stack straight to there, and that'll let us know how many we got. So now if I run inside, pick up a bunch of potions, run up to my shopkeeper. I did not say dealer. Then you can see now it says I have 5. Hooray! I've got 1 sword and 5 of that. One thing you'll notice though is if you click these, it's actually going to cost you money at the moment. And then when you open it back up, you're actually buying from your own inventory. So that's no good. We need to fix that, which is just our on-clicked event. So there's just a few alterations that we actually need to make right here. So what we're going to do is, this is our sales icon button, so we need to check to see if our character, I'm going to unhide the unconnected. Okay, I'm just going to get the sell value. Actually, since they're selling, we don't need to check to see how much our character has. We can just get rid of that. We also don't need to be picking up an item, so what I can do here is just drag off, and we want to remove an item. Now the item that we're going to want to remove is this one. So I'm going to delete the pickup item. We don't need that. We will use this. So I'm going to get rid of that real quick. We can back this all up over here. Now, instead of subtracting, words are hard sometimes. Instead of subtracting the price from our current amount, we want to add the sell value to our current amount. So just like that. And then if I run in, I'll pick up some potions. I realize, oh no, I don't need this many potions. Let me make some money off of it. Hey, look, $15 a piece. Now, the only problem is, you'll see, even though I only have 5, it just goes on forever, and etc. So what we need it to do is we need it to reflect the change. So back in our shop widget, right at the beginning of where we're creating our character's inventory, I'm going to create a custom event called refresh sales. So, or refresh player, or refresh whatever you want to call it, just so that it reflects and says we've made a change to what we can sell. Let's reflect that. So now in our shop icon widget, we'll need to reference this, and in our sales icon widget, we'll need to reference this. So at the end of where you're adding an item in your icon widget, we'll get the shop widget, and then just call that refresh sales function, just like that. Then we'll do the same thing in our sales. Shop widget, get it, refresh. And now when we come back out, now if I run up and I want to buy a health potion. Oh, that's right, it's just stacking on top of each. Alright, so in the shop icon widget, one thing we need to do is we need to back this up a little ways. And if we're refreshing the sales grid, we need to grab out that, and we need to clear the children from it. So otherwise these buttons are just going to be stacked on top of each other. It'll be a bunch of buttons. First we need to clear all the buttons out that are there, and then build on top of it. So now let's give it a shot. So now I can sell my potions, get rid of my sword. But if I buy a sword, there's that. I don't need that many potions. I don't need that sword. I want that sword. Can I afford that shield? I can't. Alright, so I can get that shield though. And then it reflects in our inventory. So just like that, now we've got buying and selling. So let's say that shopkeeper has a really nice bow. I'm gonna sell mine and buy that. Buy that. I must not have enough. How much did I make the bows? Now to update your sales price and all that, how much did I make a bow? Oh, this arrow. Oh, 250. Oh, that's why. Oh yeah, alright. So yeah, just to update your prices or sales or anything like that, or if you have an item that's not giving you gold or not costing gold, then you'll want to check to see if you've got a price and a sell value. Sell value 0. Iron sword not worth a dime. Alright, it's gonna be worth 175. So yeah, just like that. So I'm trying to think, was there something else? Well, I guess that's it. Alright, so now you can buy items, sell items, and have it reflect in your inventory. So in the next one, we'll do just a couple more shopkeeper tweaks. Like how to set up a camera to where it'll look at your shopkeeper and, you know, all that jazz. And how to keep it from letting you shop all the way over here. All that jazz. So I will see y'all in the next one. Bye bye.